Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Sajid, and this is another video about Python programming language. By now we have done 6 videos before on this Python, and now then over this chapter 7 we're gonna discuss about numbers. There are three numeric types in Python. Keep remember this: int, float, and complex. So variables of numeric types are created when you assign a value to them, right? So for example, x is equal to 1. Now x is a variable created with one number stored in it. Similarly, when you have defined 2.8, it's of type float and stored in y. And when you have complex numbers, like the numbers which have real part and imaginary part, so we use this letter j with the in imaginary part. So we have z is equal to 1j. So this is our complex number. So in this example, we have seen how we define these variables containing the numbers. Next, we can verify the type of an object in Python using type function. So using this type function, we can know the type of these variables, what sort of data store them. For example, when x is 1, the type of 1 is of integer type, second one is float, and third one is complex. Z stores the complex number. So let's look at on integers in a little bit more detail. Integers are actually whole numbers, positive or negative, without decimals. Keep remember, this point is the most important here, of unlimited length. This is another very important thing. Like in Python, we have only 3 types, and if we have whole numbers, and they are very large numbers or very small numbers, for all type of numbers we are using only integer type of variable. Okay, so here you see 3 examples: x is equal to 1, y is equal to a big very large number here, and z is negative number. So when we print them, all are 3 integer types. Okay, next we look at the float. Float or floating point number is a number, positive or negative, containing one or more decimals. So this is a key point in float numbers, containing one or more decimals. Yeah, okay. Float can also be scientific numbers with an e to indicate the power of 10. Yeah, this is interesting. So don't forget this. You have float numbers. For example, e is equal to 35. E 3 means 35 into 10 power 3. Similarly, you have 12e4. So look at this code execution. All are of type float when we are printing them. Okay. Next we have complex numbers. Complex numbers are written with the j as the imaginary part. So we can see when we can define x is equal to 3.5j, or we can have real part 0 and then 5j, y is equal to 5j, and z is equal to minus 5j. So if we print them, they give us this complex thing. Yeah, complex type of numbers. Next we have type conversion. We can convert from one type to another with int, float, and complex methods. So whatever input we give to int method, that will be converted to float, and whatever we whatever input we give to int method, it will be stored as int, and float method will store information as float, and complex will store as complex numbers. So we have here in this code one x is equal to float 1. See here, it is without decimal point, and but when we are printing x, it's 1.0 and its type is float. So this float method is storing 1 as float in x. Yeah, similarly 2.8 when stored in y. For int, 0.8 decimal part is removed. You can see from here. Now we have only 2 value here. Okay, so similarly for complex, when we have the x complex number, we are storing x, okay, 1, and see here when we are printing that, we have 1 plus 0j, means imaginary part is 0. Then we have type xyz, float, int, complex. Yeah, so we can see that these methods have really converted our inputs to the proper types and saved them in the variables. Further, you cannot convert complex numbers into other number type. So this is the important point, don't forget this one. Now let's look at random number generation. Python's doesn't have a random function to make a random number. So this key message, don't forget this. But Python has a built-in module called random that can be used to make random numbers. So we will have a video in future discussing modules. So as of now, you can consider it sort of like external code which we can import in our program. So import the random module and display a random number between 1 to 9. So let's try this example in command prompt of Anaconda. So import random, okay, print random dot rand range. Okay, so we are giving range of 1 to maybe 100, and when we do, okay, it has generated 12. Yeah, now if we give range from maybe 90 to 100 and execute this command, it gives us 98. So by importing random numbers, random module, we can have this random.rand range method which can be used to generate random numbers. So now I have reached end of today's video. I will wrap up it here, and in this video just summarize what we have learned today. We have seen how to generate random numbers, how to make type conversion in Python, complex numbers, how they are generated, like they are stored or variables are created, and then we have seen float and integer. And don't forget that we have only 3 types of numeric types like in Python: integer, float, and complex. So that's all for today's video for Python. So if the video you think is useful, please share with your friends and colleagues, and subscribe to my channel. I'll be back with more videos soon. So by that time, take care, bye bye, and Allah Hafiz.